Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're tackling a story that sits at the fascinating intersection of technology, finance, and entertainment. Imagine an industry that explodes in size, attracting hundreds of millions of users, and then finds itself in a state of chaos, tangled in century-old laws, complex tax debates, and a flood of illegal activity. That's the story of online gaming in India. But what if the solution to this chaos isn't just a new law, but a new kind of money? We're talking about India's Digital Rupee and how this new frontier in currency could completely reshape the future of online gaming. India's online gaming scene is nothing short of a phenomenon. As of late 2023, the country was home to an estimated 568 million gamers. The market size, which was around $730 million in 2019, is projected to grow exponentially. This isn't just about entertainment. It's a massive contributor to the digital economy, creating jobs and attracting huge investments. But this rapid growth has a dark side. The industry has outpaced the laws meant to govern it, creating a turbulent and uncertain environment. The biggest legal headache stems from a law written long before the internet even existed, the Public Gambling Act of 1867. The entire legal debate today hinges on a distinction this old law forces us to make. Is a game of skill or a game of chance? India's Supreme Court has ruled that games where skill is the predominant factor are legitimate businesses. This is why you see platforms for rummy and fantasy sports operating legally. But for many other games, the line is blurry, and anything that falls on the chance side is considered gambling, which is mostly prohibited. To make things even more complicated, betting and gambling is a subject handled by individual states, not the central government. This has led to a patchwork of different laws across the country. Some states have banned all real money online gaming, while others are more permissive. For a gaming company, navigating this landscape is a nightmare. This legal mess has opened the door to several serious problems. First, there's the flood of illegal offshore betting platforms. These are websites not registered in India, which means they pay no Indian taxes and often facilitate illicit activities. The government is playing a constant game of whack-a-mole, blocking these sites only for them to reappear under new names. Between 2022 and mid-2025, over 500 such websites were blocked, but the problem persists. Second, the anonymous cross-border nature of online payments makes the industry a target for financial crime. There are major concerns about money laundering, tax evasion using in-game currencies, and even the potential for terror financing. And then there's the issue that sent shockwaves through the entire industry, the 28% GST. In October 2023, the government imposed a hefty 28% goods and services tax on the full face value of every bet placed on an online game. This was a massive leap from the previous 18% tax, which was only on the platform's commission fee, known as gross gaming revenue. The industry has warned that such a high tax rate could make legitimate businesses unviable, and ironically, push more players towards those illegal tax-evading offshore platforms. So you have an industry caught between outdated laws, financial crime, and a controversial new tax. It's clear that a new approach is needed. And that's where the Digital Rupee comes in. The Digital Rupee, or e-rupee, is what's known as a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. Let's be very clear, this is not a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. It isn't decentralized. The e-rupee is a tokenized, digital version of the Indian rupee, issued and backed by the Reserve Bank of India, the central bank. It has the same value and sovereign guarantee as the cash in your wallet, it just exists digitally. The RBI is already piloting both wholesale and retail versions. And while the initial focus is on making payments faster and more inclusive, the real magic lies in its underlying technology, which offers two key features that could be revolutionary for regulation: traceability and programmability. Let's start with traceability. One of the biggest advantages of a CBDC is the potential to trace transactions. While protecting user privacy is a critical consideration in its design, the technology allows for a level of transparency that's a powerful weapon against crime. How does this help online gaming? For starters, it could be a death blow to illegal offshore betting. The government is already trying to order payment companies to block transactions to these illegal sites. With the Digital Rupee, this becomes far more effective. Since every e-rupee transaction would be recorded on a central ledger, authorities could easily identify and block payments going to non-compliant or offshore platforms. This would effectively choke off their financial lifeline, making it incredibly difficult for them to operate in the Indian market. Traceability would also be a massive deterrent to money laundering. It would give authorities a clear, undeniable trail of funds, making it much easier to spot suspicious patterns, investigate financial crimes, and bring a much-needed layer of discipline to the sector. Now let's talk about the most groundbreaking feature of the Digital Rupee: programmability. This is the ability to program the currency itself with specific rules that govern how, where, and when it can be spent. Think of it as smart money. The RBI is already exploring this for things like ensuring government subsidies are spent only on their intended purpose. In the context of online gaming, this is a complete game changer. Consider the 28% GST problem. It's a huge compliance headache for companies. With programmable e-rupees, you could design a system where the moment a player makes a bet, the 28% GST is automatically deducted from the transaction and remitted directly to the government's account in real time. This would streamline tax collection, eliminate the compliance burden on companies, and ensure the government gets its revenue instantly and accurately. Programmability could also be a powerful tool for promoting responsible gaming. Addiction and financial distress are serious social concerns. With the e-rupee, a user's digital wallet could be programmed with daily or monthly spending limits specifically for gaming platforms. Once you hit your self-imposed or regulated limit, the money in your wallet simply cannot be used for any more gaming transactions until the next period. It's a hard-coded safety net. This technology could also solve the problem of underage gaming. Platforms are required to have age verification processes, but they're not always foolproof. A programmable e-rupee could be linked directly to a user's verified digital identity. This would create a system where only wallets belonging to users verified to be above the legal gaming age could transact on real money gaming sites. It's a far more robust gatekeeping mechanism. Finally, programmability allows for nuanced regulation. If the legal framework continues to distinguish between games of skill and games of chance, you could apply different spending rules or tax deductions programmatically based on the type of game being played. It could even be used to enforce different state-level regulations seamlessly. Beyond regulation, the e-rupee could also tackle another major issue in the industry: payment fraud and chargebacks. A chargeback is when a customer disputes a transaction with their bank, which then reverses the payment. This is often due to what's called friendly fraud, where a user plays a game, loses money, and then falsely claims the transaction was unauthorized to get their money back. The Digital Rupee, being a token-based system where transactions are final and settled directly between wallets, functions more like a cash payment. This would drastically reduce frivolous chargebacks. And since the e-rupee would be tied to a verified identity, it would be much harder for criminals to use stolen financial information. Of course, this vision of a digitally regulated future isn't without its challenges. The biggest and most valid concern is privacy. A currency that can be traced by the government, while great for fighting crime, raises fears of surveillance. Striking the right balance between transparency for law enforcement and protecting the personal financial data of citizens is paramount. This will require a very strong legal framework for data protection before any widespread adoption. Then there's the technological hurdle. Building a secure, robust infrastructure for a national digital currency is a monumental task, and for it to work, people have to actually use it. This will require massive investment in financial literacy and awareness campaigns to get both consumers and businesses on board. And perhaps most importantly, the Digital Rupee is a tool, not a solution in itself. It can enforce rules, but it can't create them. The Indian government still needs to do the hard work of creating a clear, consistent, and unified national regulatory framework for online gaming. The industry needs clarity on what's legal, what's not, and how it will be governed. The Digital Rupee can then serve as the powerful enforcement mechanism for those clear laws. We are witnessing the convergence of a new form of money and the evolution of rules for a massive digital sector. By leveraging the unique technological power of its central bank digital currency, India has a rare opportunity to create a transparent, accountable, and secure environment for online gaming. A well-regulated industry, powered by a modern payment system like the Digital Rupee, can become a major engine for economic growth and innovation. The path will be complex, but it points towards a new era of digital governance. The future of money is digital, and for India's online gaming industry, the Digital Rupee could be the key to unlocking a future of responsible and sustainable growth. That's all for this episode of G Fun Facts Online. Thanks for tuning in.